Good morning and welcome to reading. We are starting a new unit today, and it's going to be all about water. We've had a preview of this information, some of the information, when we had science together and we did work with water and where the water is in the world, percents and everything. So in our benchmark readers, we did not have a chance to pick one up from our school. So what we're going to be doing starting tomorrow is we're going to be opening the digital copy and start reading from there tomorrow. Today is just going to be an introduction. I have a YouTube video for us to watch, and then some slides too to kind of go over some vocabulary. And I want to just start off with just a chance for you guys to just share what do you already know about oceans and water, and then what questions you have. So that's kind of like, in a nutshell, the entire day for reading today will be about introducing the idea of oceans and water, and then just have you to kind of share some things from your own minds to start us off. Tomorrow we will officially start reading that text. And so I wanted to start with a video, and I wanted to try, good morning. I wanted to try, oh, it looks like that's Damaris. Good morning, Damaris. I wanted to try and show you a video here. So I'm going to try this. I don't know how it will work, so bear with me. Give me a second. The video is also linked in Google Classroom, in your slides. And so I just wanted to try this out to show it here. Let me remember the buttons to click. Give me a second. Here we go. And I don't see. Here we go. So I'm going to start with some vocabulary. Let me make this full screen. Nice. Okay. So the text that we will be reading, we're only reading one of the texts out of the unit, and it's going to be called Questions and Answers About the Oceans. And so some words you'll need to know just to kind of get us started. The word plankton. Now in Mrs. Laviega's class, I know you guys worked with the food chain and energy sources, and so this unit or this text we're going to be reading is going to be a combination of her topic for science and my topic for science. So plankton is part of the food chain. And it's so small, so small. Something that comes from the text you'll see tomorrow, the word plankton comes in this sentence on page 23. Algae and plankton are at the very bottom of the food chain. And so if you look at this picture, you see plankton are eaten by zooplankton, which includes some of the shellfish like lobsters, and then fish larvae eat them, and then smaller fish will eat that. And then predators or larger fish will eat the smaller fish. So the food chain is something that you've seen before. And so plankton is one of those really, really tiny organisms that live in the ocean. All right, krill is very, very small as well. Sometimes you might think of these as like mini little shrimp. They are krill. They eat small plankton, or they eat the plankton. And whales will eat krill. But just mounds of them, like huge amounts of them. You might see videos and things of just whales that will come by with their mouth open, and just tons of krill will just swim right into it. So krill is another organism found in the ocean. Photosynthesis we see as something that happens to plants. It's a process that will pretty much turn sunlight into energy for plants. And so on page 24, the word photosynthesis comes up when it says, but algae cannot carry out photosynthesis in water that is too warm. The algae either die or the coral spits it out. And so we see this photosynthesis process also happen with plants on land. But just an interesting thing to think about is that photosynthesis also takes place under the water, because the sun's rays do reach under the water as well. And finally, the word alkaline. And I don't know if I can move my face out of the way. I see that it's covering the definition. But something that you'll need to know is that the pH scale is like a measure or unit of measure to show how the levels are of something. And so I'm trying to be very basic with this definition, but if something is very acidic, that means that it has a lot of acid in it. And so that would be rated on this pH scale with a lower number, so at 0. So for example, battery is very, very acidic. And then if I eat a lemon, I can also taste that acidity because they have a lot of acid in it. And so if my stomach is upset and I eat a lemon, that may not go well in my stomach. Stomach acid has acidity because its job is to kind of break food apart. And so it needs acid to be able to do that. But it doesn't have as much acid as, say, a battery. And so then as you move along this scale, those things that are neutral right in the middle, like coffee and milk and water and blood, those are things that won't be as acidic for us if we ingest that. And then on the opposite end will be alkaline. So alkaline has a range or has the numbers that are higher, which if ingested, this could kill. Like it would be very hurtful to your body. For example, bleach or drain cleaner and certain soaps. And so those things will have more alkaline in them. And so in this text, we come across a discussion about the changes in the water in relation to pollution and things that we have done as humans and to the world, and what's the effects of what we've done on the oceans. And so the pH scale is mentioned, the word alkaline is mentioned, I think, not the pH scale, but that word alkaline. And so I just wanted to make sure we had an understanding of that, what alkaline meant in comparison to some other things that we're aware of. Okay, so now I wanted to try the video. Again, you can watch this also yourself on your own time, but I'm going to actually try to view this right here. Ready? It's about 2-3 minutes almost.
Oceans cover over 70% of the Earth's surface. They not only serve as the planet's largest habitat, but also help to regulate the global climate. The ocean is a continuous body of saltwater that surrounds the continents. It is divided into 4 major regions: the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and Arctic. The ocean contains traces of all chemical elements found on Earth, but it tastes salty because of sodium and chloride ions in rainwater runoff and minerals from geothermal vents on the seafloor. Climate change is altering the ocean in 3 major ways. First, the ocean is getting warmer. The greenhouse effect not only warms the planet, but also raises the temperature of the world's oceans. Over the past century, the ocean's surface temperature rose at an average rate of about 0.13 degrees Fahrenheit per decade. And during the past 30 years, sea surface temperature has been consistently higher than at any other time on record. This warmer water vaporizes quickly, fueling stronger and more frequent storms. Higher temperatures also threaten delicate ocean life like coral reefs and disrupt the food chain, from krill to penguins to seals. Second, since 1993, the seas have been rising at a rate that's twice as fast as the long-term trend. Sea levels rise not only because water expands when it heats up, but also due to melting glaciers and ice sheets. Rising seas contribute to flooding on once dry land in coastal regions. A third consequence of climate change is ocean acidification. Seawater absorbs CO2 from the atmosphere, which lowers its pH and results in higher acid content. This reduces the concentration of calcium carbonate, which makes it difficult for species like oysters, clams, and corals to form shells or skeletons. The only way to stop the damage to our oceans is to dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But even if emissions stop tomorrow, the gases currently in the atmosphere would take decades to dissipate.
All right, so I hope that is just a preview for us. Let me switch back. Give me 1 second. Okay, so that's just a preview of what we're going to be learning about. In the text, it does get into a lot of those topics, the acidity of the ocean, the alkaline of the ocean, a lot of talk about the effects of pollution on the ocean, but also about the sea and the saltiness of the sea and why is the ocean even salty. And so that's something that we're going to be going into when we read the text more, but I just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what the text will be about. That video did a pretty great job of explaining the key facts. And so today what you'll be doing is you watch the video and you've seen the vocabulary. I just want to see what are some things that you already know about the ocean. And so in Google Classroom, you will find a question. You'll just type it right there in Google Classroom. 2 questions. The first one says, what are 5 things that you already know about the ocean? So I'm looking for what are some interesting facts that you know. Could be about anything. Challenge yourself if you know quite a bit about it. Challenge yourself to some really interesting facts that maybe the rest of us don't really know. And then the other question is, what questions do you have? So now that you've seen a few things in that video, maybe some questions came up as you watched it. So what are some questions you have? So what do you already know? What are some questions that you have about oceans? Okay. And then tomorrow we will get our text open digitally, and we will read half of it tomorrow, and then the other half the second day. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.